Donna Bowles Partain was born on June 4th, 1942 in Newcastle, Indiana, to Faye Alberta Mumont Bowles and Sherman Cleo Bowles. She was the youngest of three children. Her brother Keith Bowles and her sister Ina Bowles Halleck both preceded her in death. By the time Donna was 4 years old, the family had moved to a little town named San Juan in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas, just 9 miles from Reynosa and the Mexican border. She would live in the same little house until she was married. Her mother worked as a waitress, and her father, who died young from a heart attack, had his own two-man business making and selling sawdust-based sweeping compound. She first encountered Jesus when her brother and sister, who had become acquainted with the young preacher at the San Juan Church of Christ, dragged her to church with them. Her brother and sister soon quit attending, but she never did. That's where she was when I met her. We had a crop failure on the farm in Oklahoma, and my dad accepted an offer to come preach there. We were both in elementary school and became good friends. My mom and dad pretty much adopted her. Through the years, she would often remember and comment on the powder blue suit and tie I wore every Sunday when first we met. During this time, we lived closely together and spent a lot of time together. Even after Alzheimer's had clouded her mind, she would still tell anyone who would listen about how we climbed trees together, and she would add that I always climbed higher than her, even though I'm not sure that I did. After about 3 years, the pull of the farm was too strong for Dad, and we headed back to Oklahoma. Donna and I would not see each other again until her senior year, when an eye infection took me out of Oklahoma Christian College, and I petitioned that little church in San Juan for a job. They hired me, but they talked Mom and Dad into coming also. There was Donna, just where we left her. A young preacher named Don Atherton had baptized her while we were gone. Two dear unmarried sisters, both high school teachers, took her under their wings and made sure she got to church and was involved while she was there. Then, as Donna loved to say, we saw each other in a different light. This time, Mom and Dad would leave after a few years, but I stayed. However, Mom would not leave until she saw her baby boy married. I used to say we had to get married, if only to get Mom to go home. I proposed one night under a full moon parked on Lover's Lane, and she said yes. The rest, as they say, is history. We were married March 9th, 1962, at the Church of Christ in Pharr, Texas, with their minister, Tommy Kelton, performing the ceremony. My best man and her matron of honor, Ray and Elaine Scroggins, couldn't make it because they were at the hospital delivering their firstborn son. My dad stood with me, and her very dear friend, Mary Ruth Pritchard Holland, stood with her in their place. A male double quartet, -1, from Pan American College sang for our wedding. The -1 was me, and Donna wouldn't let me sing with them. After the reception, we left for our honeymoon on Padre Island. It was a bit cold for March, and we turned around to get her coat. Her brother remarked that if she needed her coat, she had married the wrong guy. After Donna's high school graduation, we both attended Pan American College in Edinburgh while I preached for the San Juan Church. 3 years into our marriage, we were both touring Mexico with the Pan American College Choir when, on the road from Saltillo to Mexico City, Donna presented with the measles. She was in her first trimester with our first daughter, Jana. A doctor in Mexico City informed us that in Mexico that was grounds for a legal abortion. And as it turned out, Jana was born profoundly deaf. Of course, abortion was never an option for us, and oh my, what a loss for the world if Jana had not been born. Donna diagnosed Jana's hearing loss in the first months of her life and began moving heaven and earth to make sure she had every opportunity to function well and prosper. 3 years after Jana was born, sweet Sheila came along, whole, healthy, and happy. However, at the tender age of 14, she presented with osteosarcoma. bone cancer in her leg. Again, Donna swung into hero mom mode and took on every challenge head first, never losing her smile and never taking no for an answer. She spent most of 18 months never leaving Sheila's side, much of it at the hospital during that battle. We are eternally grateful to MD Anderson for not only saving Sheila's life, but her leg as well. She went on to bless us with 2 children, Kara and Charlie, and Kara has given us our beautiful great-granddaughter, Jillian Rose. As my work took us from San Juan to McAllen, Corpus Christi, Longview, Port Arthur, Fairfield, California, and finally back to Texas and Pearland, Donna supported and handled every transition with enthusiasm, grace, and skill. There was never a negative word, and her smile never waned. When my work with the Sunset International Bible Institute took me all over the world, sometimes being gone as long as 3 months at a time, she joined me when it was practical and patiently supported me when it wasn't. She especially enjoyed South Korea and Athens, Greece. Along the way, she worked as an elementary teacher in McAllen, a Chamber of Commerce secretary, first for Nederland, Texas, and then for Port Neches, Texas. Head cook for a private Christian school with 320 students in Fairfield, California. And finally, the receptionist for Westbury Christian Academy in Houston. But her first job was always to be the very best wife and mother she could be. For part of our life, we did a lot of tent camping, whether at Lake Sam Rayburn with a dozen or more families from the Nederland Church of Christ, or on the floor of Yosemite Valley in California with thousands of Christians and almost as many bears. Donna embraced it with enthusiasm, with never a complaint about the extra work. Camping at Sierra Bible Camp in the Sierra Madre Mountains of California, or our mobile home on the shore of Toledo Bend on the border of Texas and Louisiana, was less primitive, but required as much work. At Sierra Bible Camp, she was always a vital part of the cook staff, making her among the first ones up in the morning and the last ones down at night. She did it all graciously, with never a complaint, and without ever losing her smile. At Southeast, Donna inherited the role of organizing, preparing, and serving funeral meals. I can't begin to count how many of these she arranged over the years. She enlisted a small army of willing ladies to help, and she knew what each lady's specialty was. She knew just who to ask for what and for how much, and the ladies rallied around her with love and support. Somewhere around 2017, it became apparent that Donna's short-term memory was starting to slip. Her official diagnosis of Alzheimer's came in 2019, and she began the struggle against what has accurately been called the long goodbye. I know I have witnessed all the horror stories about this terrible disease, but with Donna, it was never so. Her personality never changed. She never complained. She never became angry. She was always grateful for every kindness, and her smile never faded. Her last words to me before her mind went dark were, "I love you. My darling Donna, I love you so. I eagerly await being with you again. I will meet you there."